and then you had a career transition. You took a break from work to pursue a law school and decided to terminate your education after one semester. Tell us about that thought process.
It was an awful idea. So the job search was taking a while. I think I was like 3 months in, still hadn't heard anything, and I was like, I guess I need more education. That's the one thing that's stopping me from getting a job, and not reflecting on the fact that I wasn't passionate about it. So I liked my policy and law class in my program at BU. Great professor. She made it good. But I tried out being a lawyer. It was the worst decision yet. It was dry, bland, boring. It's not the social sciences. If you have any romanticism about having context and interest in what you're reading, law is not for you, because it has no context. It's just, here's the facts, cut and paste, and now I'm going to fall asleep while I'm reading, and then I'm going to get really anxious about it. And I was anxious all semester because I just was so scared that I was going to fail. I ended up getting like a C in my classes, and I was just like, this is it. I'm good. It's a very expensive mistake too. It like doubled my student loans. One semester.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I think a lot of lessons and insights there is like really being intentional in making that decision, knowing if you're going to go into it, like this is investment that you have to actually, I don't know, if you want it to get the most out of it, you have to really like be intentional in that decision. Yeah. But at the same point in time, knowing that it wasn't your path and being strong enough to make that decision to step away and say, this isn't going to be a good fit for me in the long run. So let me really figure out what I can do to figure out what was the next step. And I guess like that is my question to you. So when you were making that transition to say, I'm going to not go to law school next semester, what was your thought process and how did you go about looking for your next opportunity?
At that point, I decided to open up the floodgates and just apply to anything that I seemed qualified for. I stopped restricting it to the field of public health, and I just started more broadly saying, okay, do they want a master's or do they want a bachelor's? Do I have the years of experience to qualify for this? And that can be challenging with my work history because I have this really windy trajectory where I got really great experiences, but it's really hard to communicate that in a one-page cover letter. So that's been a challenge. But I ended up getting a job as a research associate at a college that I will not name, because on the first day, my manager came up to me and said, I don't care if I get fired. It was a toxic work environment for the next 2 months. I go get married. I come back. I'm there for 2 days. I turn in an assignment that they gave me 2 days to work on that normally takes a week. I messed it up. It was the first time I did it. They fired me. So law school, fired, and then completely lost. So I was really stuck in a big rut. And so what I ended up doing was I contacted Mass Hire, which is a state-sponsored free career coach that everyone who's from Massachusetts on this call, I think everyone qualifies for. There might be certain stipulations, but I got a career coach and like explained to him my interest in helping people and love of teaching graduate students. And he asked me, have you ever thought about being a trainer or an adjunct professor? And that translates to Lizelle University.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. I'm glad you got out of the toxic workspace. That is ridiculous, crazy, and sorry that you had to deal with that. And it's interesting to hear like that trajectory, as well as like you shared earlier that you really enjoyed being a graduate teaching assistant and like seeing that light up and now coming back to like, okay, let me work with this coach and get clarity. And in getting that clarity, it was like coming back to that thing that you did find joy in it. Yeah. So you became an adjunct professor in psychological perspectives at LaSalle University. Tell us more about what you did there, what you enjoyed.
Yeah, I'll give a little background on that because I'm very proud of what I did to get that job, which is I went through Wikipedia and identified every single school in the nation that had a psychology department, and I applied for the entire month of December to every single program that I could find. I ended up sending out like 30 different ones, but I applied, and one of the very last ones that I got was Lizelle University because we were 2 weeks out from the start of the semester and they didn't have a professor yet. So they were willing to take a chance on an unexperienced professor at that time who was willing to go in person because it was COVID still. So there was that dynamic in the process of people not wanting to do it. So I get hired. I have 2 weeks to build a syllabus, create all my PowerPoints, and get it done. I spent like 40 hours a day just like working through everything to do this. And then I taught 24 students, and it was the most fun job I've ever had. It is a career I absolutely want to pursue, both undergraduates and graduates. More preference for graduates, but phenomenal. Absolutely.
Well, I'm glad that you did share that because that is the intentionality and like the perseverance that I think a lot of people need to hear and do. Is like, what are all the psychology programs? Let me apply to the ones that fit my criteria. And then even from that, it is the opportunity came to you that this one program had space and they were willing to take a chance on you. And I think those things just don't happen to people just like that. It's like,
Yeah.
I feel like many times we have to be putting in the initiative for the universe to sometimes meet us halfway and say, hey, here's the opportunity that you're looking for. And then from that, I I can only imagine what those 2 weeks were building an entire syllabus curriculum. That might have been crazy.
It was nice to have something to do. I'll say that.
Fair enough.